Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about something that I think is just amazing. As someone who has dedicated their entire life to strength training, to getting people under a barbell, to getting other people strong, right? To hear and see all these different doctors and researchers and people acknowledging the value of strength training and the importance of it is to me amazing, right? It's to me amazing because again, you guys know I'm almost 50 years old. You guys see me squat 500 plus sometimes. You guys have seen me deadlift 600. You've seen me bench 365. You know, and it's legit lifts too. We're not talking bouncing stuff off the chest and, half reps here. So I've dedicated my life to this, and I've dedicated my life to getting people strong. And so for me, when we see the studies and doctors acknowledging, look, a meta-analysis literally showed that if you could only pick strength training and resistance training or cardio for heart health, that the strength training will be slightly better. Wow. I mean, to hear stuff like that to where meta-analysis is showing this. I mean, what a stark change. Now, and when I say that, by the way, I do cardio. Just in case anyone says, well, Jason, maybe you should do some cardio. I do cardio 5 days a week. I happen to agree that there are different pathways between the two, and strength training plus cardio, even better. Okay, no one's disagreeing. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with this. Yeah, you should do both. But strength training is key. Gaining muscle is king. All right? Same thing, we look at all the research on diabetes, the research on cancers. Gaining muscle is protective against both. Okay? In other words, up to a certain reasonable threshold, losing body fat reduces cancer risk. Losing body fat reduces diabetes risk. Gaining muscle reduces cancer risk. Gaining muscle reduces these risks. Because again, we're looking at things like glucose dump, glucose disposal, insulin sensitivity, overall inflammation in the body. All right? Gaining muscle is protective, and we know losing fat helps. Like this is well understood in the literature. But gaining muscle also makes it easier to keep body fat lower, right? Because your metabolic rate's higher. You have a glucose dump, you have a calorie dump. Okay? In other words, people will talk about stuff like, well, we need lower insulin response and everything. And so they'll even do really low carb diets, for example, to do that. But here's the thing. People who eat higher carbs, who strength train really hard, still have lower circulating insulin than people who don't, who do low carbs. Now, granted, the low carb diets can have their place. I use them quite frequently myself. But the strength training, the muscle mass, that's the key. That's the key to all these things. It's the key to glucose disposal. It's the key to insulin sensitivity. And then diet right behind it. So we want to use these things in conjunction. So I'm not telling people these other things do not have merit. What I'm telling you is the strength training is king. And that anyone who bypasses the benefits of strength training on these other things and still has these problems is usually really taking it to the extreme. In other words, if you train the way I train and you're still carrying a huge amount of body fat, you got to be forcing down some serious food because it's way harder to gain body fat. And it's way easier to burn it off when you train the way I do and you lift this way. And people similar to me, there are people more extreme than me, obviously. So again, it's protective against a lot of this stuff. So again, we need to understand that. But it's amazing that doctors recognize this. It's amazing that all the researchers are recognizing this. The same thing with a lot of aging-related stuff, bone density, sarcopenia. So really, what really starts getting people when they get past 60 years old? Where do we run into real problems? Sarcopenia. Losing muscle, they start running into other problems. When you lose muscle, you get hurt easier. You can't function as easily. We've even seen, strong correlations between things like grip strength and cognition and dementia. Okay, now granted that could be correlation, not causation. We can make a good case for that, but the fact that it's been noted. The fact that it's been noted in the research is amazing. Bone density. So that's also what gets you. Those hip fractures, those broken bones as you get older. Those are killers. But when you train, look at the bone density that it requires to do what I do. I had some DEXA scans done back in my early 40s, right? And as a power lifter. And my bone density was almost off the charts. It was like fourth standard deviation. In other words, my bone density in my 40s was considerably higher than the average 20-year-olds. Higher. Why? Quite a bit higher. Okay? So that's what starts getting us as we get older. Loss of bone density. That means we break hips easier. We get fractures easier. If you're over 60 and you break a hip, it's pretty much a death sentence. Okay? And I mean, here's what I mean. What they find is that once you fracture a hip over the age of 60, 90% of people are dead in less than 3 years from that point. It's a death sentence. So if you're over the age of 60 and you fracture a hip falling down, the research says 90% chance you will be dead within 3 years, no matter what else you do. Like, that is just the statistics. Only 1 in 10 people survive that because they just completely decline at that point. Because it completely immobilizes them, removes their ability to function, and that's when you really die. Okay? It doesn't even have to get to 70 or 80. We're talking in your 60s. It's death sentence. Strength training stops this. Right? It is the number one defense you have against osteoporosis and hip fractures and bone fractures. All right? All the experts acknowledge this. The experts acknowledge this. Strength training is so good for you. And people say, well, I'm just worried about living longer. I want quality of life. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being fit, feeling good, being active, not having to have any of these problems. Okay? Not needing 57 medications, not needing crutches, not needing all these other things, not hurting so much when you wake up. It improves your quality of life through those years. And it starts sooner than you realize, guys. It's a game changer just in your 40s even. You will be completely different from all your friends. Okay? It's a big deal. You start getting beyond that, it is literally night and day. So yes, it is about quality of life. It's not even about adding years. It's about adding quality to your years. It's about adding quality to years. And that is what we are talking about with this. And it is being acknowledged. And I love that. I absolutely love that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.